It's time, ladies and gents, about to spit about some film reels. Copping the field to seal the deal of what the films reveal. Batman, Superman, even Spider-Man compare to fare against each other, tearing apart the parts that they prepare. But these are just a few examples for the task at hand. On demand with cinematic contraband to shock the fans. To preach the theme, title, film, eat film. Tis the keen regime for cinema guillotines to rock my rhyme kiln.
Yes. Okay. Hello, and welcome to a second round matchup of the Film Eat Film tournament. I am Damon Big Deezy Gumbert, coming here, pipping the airways as usual.
Damn, son.
I am taking over this judging duty this week because Ben, I don't know his...
James and the Giant Peach Siski.
Yeah, James and the Giant Peach Siski is on vacation, probably off in some random country doing some cool stuff that we're not allowed to do. Today, we have a great matchup. This one, keep it in the family. I'm excited for this.
Family affair.
The brothers duel. We have Scott, Icebox Nemi, going up against Joey, J. Neems Nemi.
What's up?
I'm so excited. This is going to be great. All right. So the topics for today's matchup are Marvel films, so best Marvel film, best Hitchcock film, and best Picture winner since 2000.
Oh yeah.
This is gonna be a crazy matchup, guys. All right, and the coin toss was won by Joey earlier. He chose for Scott to go first, and we are starting with the Marvel films. And your film is
Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
The Winter Soldier. All right. Whenever we'll get a timer ready, and then we will start doing this. All kinds of messed up.
Travis said he wants a blueberry pie. And then we'll talk about drinks.
It's 3 minutes, correct?
3 minutes, sir.
3 minutes starting whenever you want.
Right now. So, as Damon told you, I am doing Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Now, setting the pace straight away is this film. You have the introduction to, obviously, a Captain America character that we met in a previous film. And you also get a sense of who else is going to be in the picture. Obviously, Black Widow is in there. But right straight away, when they're diving onto this this ship, the editing is so brilliant because you have no idea where everybody is. It's so shaky cam that you don't know who's good and bad. And this might for an average moviegoer might come off as a headache, but for someone who can see deeper inside what the Russos were going for, you can see that it's going to set forth a political thriller. A political spy thriller that's going to take you all throughout S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra. It's amazing. So you have humanity and vulnerability of Black Widow, of characters, especially Black Widow. You know, she even tells Cap, that she's not always right. She's scared when she gets shot. You have symbolism. You have Captain America's suit, which is torn and tattered and rubbed through the mud, just like what this film is trying to say about corporate America and political America, how dirty it is and how grimy it gets. Look, let's talk a little bit more about the directors, the Russo brothers. Their action scenes, specifically the elevator scene, is phenomenal. It is placed so well, and again, a tip to the cap of the editing, so well done. The shots are brilliant. One that I always go back to in this film is a cowboy shot. You do not know who the villain in this is until you see this cowboy shot from the side of, from the back side of Cap's waist, and you see the camera pointing towards who the real villain is. You don't remember? Go check it out. The use of the shaky cam, as I said, and then also the twist. Plug your ears if you don't know the twist, because it's Bucky is actually the Winter Soldier, which it makes it so much more. The stakes are so much more bigger and badder in this film. They use Falcon so much better than Civil War. He's right-hand man to Cap, and he's good comic relief in this film. He's not just thrown in there to just make jokes like in Civil War. It shows America as a whole with corruption and etc. And obviously, I think this is the best film with with Nick Fury in it. I think he is the best done, and they have a great nod to Pulp Fiction on Nick Fury's on his in the cemetery. They have a nod to Ezekiel 25:17.
Beautiful.
I really wanted to hit it off at the end there. I couldn't remember Gravestone.
Yeah.
Almost like Apocalypse Now revisiting.
All I could think of was Redux. All right, Joey, whenever you're ready.
All right, let's do this. All right, so my film was Captain America: Civil War. So what we have here is basically the most anticipated Marvel Universe movie since the Avengers, with one twist: it was actually good. We have a great storyline and something that we haven't seen before really in the Marvel Universe, and that's hero versus hero, which every comic reader, everybody was so hyped up for this movie, and I think they did a great job. It appeals to comic readers, and I think that's really important because that's what a Marvel Studios picture should do. But at the same time, it keeps things new and fresh and keeps it suitable for newer viewers too at the same time, which takes a lot of skill to do that, to satisfy two very different kind of crowds who have an equal passion about the film. Also, the returning characters, you see some of their best performances in the movies as of yet. Steve Rogers, I think this is the best time we've seen him come in. Bucky is really you kind of see how conflicted he is in his situation that he's in. Also, it brings in three huge big players in the MCU, which is Zemo, who did a phenomenal job in that movie, even for the short amount he was shown in the film. T'Challa, aka Black Panther, who was amazing in the scenes he was in. And then Spider-Man, actually, because the Tobey Maguire ones aren't MCU. And I think they did a phenomenal job, like I said, appealing to both crowds with Spider-Man, because they brought back the old uniform and things like that, but at the same time you see it's like modernized, like his eyepieces constrict and things like that. It's a lot more techy and modern. And the fight scenes in that movie, oh baby, that's better than anything we've seen in the MCU. It's not over the top, but at the same time it's just right. It's so perfect. And the fact that it's heroes versus heroes gets you that much more into it, because you want to see who exactly can take who in this fight. It's just an overall better story. I think some of the best acting we've seen from the characters, some characters so far, and it just, I don't know, overall it's just better picture.
Done?
Yep.
All right. Scott, your 2-minute rebuttal starts whenever you're ready.
I'm ready now. All right, so let me just hit you with some numbers here. Because for me personally, when I heard Civil War, I think it's more, you can relate to it more for people who are non-comic book readers like myself. I've heard of Civil War. I know what goes on during Civil War. And listen to these numbers. The Winter Soldier scored a 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb, 89% Rotten Tomatoes, 4.5 out of 5 on Amazon. Chris Duckman gave him an A. Roger Ebert, 3.5 out of 4 stars. Not the Roger Ebert, but his website. Civil War got 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb, 90% Rotten Tomatoes, 3 out of 4 on Roger Ebert. So you can pick and choose which is better. But for a film that is supposed to be that much bigger and that much badder than an ensemble cast of superheroes like Civil War, to me, I felt they let themselves down just a bit. I think it got worse, or a tad better scores. And you just heard what the scores were. But Russo's Winter Soldier is quietly the backbone of the MCU. Without Winter Soldier, there wouldn't be Russo's Civil War. And it outranked the other superhero collabs. All of Winter Soldier outranked all of these. So, my issues with this film is that with Tony Stark's character versus how he should be, he's always sort of this arrogant, this arrogant prick, and he just changes so much, and it doesn't really, it doesn't really follow suit with the way we've seen him before. It seems like he takes a way too big of a turn because of one person telling him he's a bad person. Look, it's fresh and new to comics. Winter Soldier is with the smart computer scene. That's an exact nod to comics, and it appealed to yours appealed to crowds, but it let them down in the ratings.
All right, Joey, whenever you're ready.
All right, go. We could talk about ratings all day, but what you can't put a number on is the passions stirred inside you when seeing the film unveiled finally. And Winter Soldier just didn't have that glamour effect that Civil War had, and I have to disagree. Maybe it wasn't as good as they projected it to be, but it definitely was not a letdown. I wouldn't consider it that. As for the Tony Stark personality, it's not just him being perceived as a bad guy that he's going through. He's going through all these feelings of basically his best friend going against him when he completely thought that he was gonna be on his side at first. And also he's dealing with the death of his parents and all that stuff when you, spoiler alert, find out it's Bucky and all the things he's going through with that. Cinematography wise, I'd say they're about the same. I couldn't really put one above the other, but the fight scenes, as far as that they go, I felt like were better in the Civil War movie, just because they weren't trying to be over the top, because they really didn't have to be, because it's hero versus hero. Shit's gonna go down, but it's not gonna be destroying buildings and all that crap. I think bigger things happen in the Civil War movie too. There's small twists. You'd have to really kind of see them, but they are big happenings. The Bucky thing's one, and Zemo coming on the screen is a huge one. And the introduction of the Black Panther and Spider-Man in the MCU. Like, so many big things are happening in the movie that may not be perceived as huge, but down the line they are going to be. And I just feel like the acting was so much stronger in this one, just because Vision's character did a lot better than he did in his introductory. And even the other personality that Stark has, I think he did a really good job.
Well, that was a good job. I liked it. It was very close. I already pretty much have it totaled out, so I can actually go through who won that if you want.
Nice.
Oh, shit. Anyway, so I changed the time management to specialty points. Anyone who said something extremely clever or just pointed out something that I thought was not a part of the other three things, I put into specialty because time management is stupid. So it's close. I have a 1 point advantage to Scott Nemi winning that round. Very, very close. There's a very strong rebuttal from Joey over here. All right. So second fight. I don't remember what it is. Is it the Hitchcock ones or is it?
I think it's the Hitchcock.
All right. And then that would be Scott starting. No, Scott started the last one. Joey starting this one, and he picked.
I picked Psycho.
Psycho, and Scott picked Rear Window.
Yep.
Correct? Yes. So Psycho versus Rear Window, starting whenever. Oh shit. No. All right. Starting whenever.
Go ahead. So we got Psycho released in 1960. It's black and white, that classic noir feel. I'm just gonna hop right into it. The character of Norman Bates is so freaky. Like, it's still remembered to this day. You can pop out the name Norman Bates and anybody's gonna know what you're talking about. So I mean, it's shot in the it was brought about in the 1960s, but yet today it's still relevant in pop culture, which I think is I think it really shows a good film if it can last throughout the ages like that. Also, Anthony Perkins is so perfect as that role, just that quiet, like, skinny, nerdy type, and he just brings, like, a certain creep factor that I feel like nobody else really would have hit on. So I think the casting of Norman Bates was done really well, too. and I'm going back to the character Norman Bates. I think that it's a lot scarier to have a character that is actually somewhat crazy, and he's doing all this like killing. He's not just like making a point or revenge or anything. He's just crazy. Like, that's what it is. There's really no motive, and I think, like they say in Scream, it's a lot scarier when there's no motive. It was a very memorable movie. Like I said, it's still referenced today in movies, and it's still relevant to today's pop culture. It made a couple sequels, which, I mean, in my mind, if you're making sequels, the story has to be strong enough and done well enough the first time to be able to do that. And I think Psycho definitely did that, because people are still, like, I'm still afraid of that. Like, going into a hotel, this could be some weirdo peeking at you and coming and killing you. It is like an icon in horror genre. The classic music when he's stabbing her, the classic shower scene as a whole, it's just iconic. Also, Janet Leigh wins Best Supporting Role. Or, well, no, she didn't win. Or, yeah, she won Best Supporting Actress for that. She was nominated for Best Actress in a Supporting Role, Best Director, Best Cinematography, and Best Art Direction, Set Direction, Black and White. It was all nominated. And, yeah, I just feel like it's a lot more scarier and stronger of a story than Rear Window, and it's a lot more memorable, too.
All right. Scott, whenever you're ready.
Yep. All right, so Rear Window, 1954. This one actually is shot in color. Look, I'm just going to start out by you cannot separate these two films. Psycho, Rear Window, 8.5 on IMDb, both of them. They're both in IMDb's top 250. They're both on the AFI 100. They're highly rated on Rotten Tomatoes. Actually, Rear Window is 100%, Psycho's 96%. Audience score is higher for Rear Window over Psycho, but like I said, you cannot separate these two. They both have spin-offs. They both have remakes. Their Amazon score is exactly the same. The one big downfall is the classic scene in Psycho, and that's the shower scene. People remember Psycho only for that. The only thing that I heard out of Joey was referencing either Norman Bates, the shower scene, or the music in the shower scene. How they're all iconic. Yes, but that could be a downfall, okay? What do you think people like, people like Barry Sanders are going to be remembered for? Well, he was such a great running back, but he quit before his time was up. You remember Psycho for being a great, iconic film, but when you go back to it, the only thing you can bring up is just the shower scene. To me, I think the themes in Rear Window are really actually work today as well. It's the fear of commitment, voyeurism. You have sort of a societal class thing going on. It's stereotypes. It's everything like that you're looking through this one guy's point of view, and they do it so well. It's in one room, and this is shot inside one room before it was cool to shoot a film in one room, like Quentin Tarantino or The Raid or Saw, things like that. It was done here, and let's bring up the dates again. 1954 Rear Window, 1960 Psycho. Rear Window helped boost. Alfred Hitchcock is one of the biggest names in film throughout the world. And without that, I don't believe he would have gotten complete control of Psycho as he did. Look, the best thing about Psycho is actually its biggest negative. Nobody can stop talking about the shower scene. All else fails in the eyes of the public. It's got the Citizen Kane effect wrapped onto it. So many people know about Citizen Kane. So many people haven't seen Citizen Kane. So many people will lie and say they have seen Citizen Kane because of Rosebud or because they know it's Orson Welles. To me, it's kind of a fault in the film, if there is any fault. But Rear Window also has the same... you can see it you can see it in TV shows as well.
Woo! Woo! That was good. That was strong. That was a good first fight section. I don't know. Whatever. So, rebuttal. Whenever you're ready, Joey.
All right, go ahead. Where Rearview Window boosted his name, I think that Psycho held his name throughout history simply because it is a scarier story and it's better done. The only scene that is not remembered is not the shower scene. People remember when the detective's going up the stairs and a woman, well, he's dressed like a woman, but it's Norman Bates, comes running out of the room and stabs him. People remember that. They remember when the girl is in there, turns around and finds Mrs. Bates' decomposing body. And the scene that actually, I almost forgot about the shower scene because I was focusing on this a lot, was the end. When he's in the station and he's just having that conversation with himself. I think is one of the creepiest parts of the film for me. I think it's a very scarier villain, obviously, because Norman Bates is so creepy, and like I said before, Anthony Perkins does a great job doing that. But also what I like about it is it throws you off a lot. You think it's Mrs. Bates doing this, but it's really Norman Bates, and he's got a personality complex going on. I think that sitting in a room watching things going on is interesting. It can be a very interesting story, but it's not as scary as Psycho, and it's not as memorable. If you asked anybody, best Alfred Hitchcock film, I could guarantee you get a lot of Psychos, a lot more than you get than Rearview Window or Birds or anything else. And that's because it is a better movie. It's way more memorable. That's all I got.
Okay. 2 minutes whenever Scott Nemi is ready.
Good.
Okay.
To me, I actually think Rear Window is more of, I think the argument that Rear Window actually put him up and then he was able to take hold is greater. Not always do you... the culture that we live in now is what have you done for me lately? And seeing as how Psycho was done after Rear Window and Vertigo and all these other great films that he's done, I think that's what makes it easier for people to remember. You still have different sorts of points of view on Psycho, but like I said, it's always covered the same thing, the shower scene. You don't get the whole prelude. You don't even understand that this murder happens halfway in between. Rear Window has comedy, drama, time bomb tension, overall arc of Jimmy Stewart's character. You have, I think the references to date are just Norman Bates, shower scene, music. But listen, The Simpsons did it. Christopher Reeves did it. Shia LaBeouf did it. Rear Window is even more present today than it has ever been, and even more present. Personally, I feel like than Psycho is, because again you have a small sample size from the film Psycho, whereas as a whole, Rear Window is taken as a whole and used for numerous other things. Like I said, there's a whole Simpsons episode about it. There's an entire movie that was done recently when we were in high school. So mid 2000s. Done with Shia LaBeouf. It doesn't get old. That spying, that voyeurism doesn't get old in our culture. It's still relevant today.
Got it. I was trying to figure out what you're talking about, Shia LaBeouf, and then I'm like, oh, Disturbia.
You don't like the Norman Bates show or Bates Motel show?
I didn't want to bring that up, and you didn't bring it up either.
I said it's relevant to today's pop culture and shit.
Yeah, well, you didn't specify. Mark him down, Damon.
Fuck you.
I knew that was going to be the toughest battle. The uphill.
That was a good one.
I should have brought out my shirt, which is Psycho, which with the shower scene on.
All right. The totals have been calculated. It is a 2-point victory for Scott Icebox Nemi. It was very close.
Going for
Very strong 3-2 rounds, not 3. I'm an idiot. Yeah, I don't really know what to say other than that. All right, third battle is best picture winner since 2000. Scott Icebox Nemi is starting. He has chosen
12 Years a Slave.
12 Years a Slave. Go.
All right, 12 Years a Slave. Look, I'm just going to put this out there right now. 2014 Best Picture nominees are some of the greatest that personally I've ever seen and should be up there with the greatest of all time. You have Philomena, Nebraska, Captain Phillips, Gravity, American Hustle, Her, Dallas Buyers Club, and The Wolf of Wall Street. All solid films that would have represented the year very well, in my opinion. You have names like Alexander Payne, Alfonso Cuarón, Paul Greengrass, Martin Scorsese, Stephen Frears. You have, man, I was on a roll too with directors' names. David O. Russell, Spike Jonze, and forgive me, Dallas Buyers Club, I cannot remember. But 12 Years a Slave is a biopic, Solomon Northup, but also a history piece, which I think balances it so well and makes it this film so memorable and powerful. Steve McQueen's direction is spot on. Long takes of Ejiofor's or Solomon Northup's piercing eyes gazing off screen really gives you time to put yourself in his shoes, and it's done so well. He sees nothing, or he says nothing, but explains everything. The tough scenes are unbearable. The emotion is uplifting and sad. You got the Jordan roll when they're burying one of their own, and they still have enough power to sing a song for their dearly departed. And also the final scene when he is reunited with his family many, many years later. And it is just, it's a tearjerker all the way, but used very well. The actors are superb. Even the lesser roles. Paul Giamatti is ruthless. Brad Pitt gives you some enlightening dialogue for the topic at hand, and even Benedict Cumberbatch does a really good job. He's really well placed in the film, so it's not so over the top. Like, a lot of people say, well, Schindler's List is great, I can only watch it once, though, and that's good for me. But this film, because they place these characters so well throughout the film, you're able to go back. Lupita Nyong'o, Fassbender, Paul Dano. Dano's song pierces your ears with hatred and ignorance. This thing won 3 Oscars and nominated for another 6. Think about that. 9 total Oscars it was nominated for in this entire class, and it still managed to pull out 3, and obviously the most important one, Best Picture. It's 191 on the top 250, 8.1 IMDb, 96% Rotten Tomatoes, 97% Metacritic, 90% audience.
It's gonna be a tough one for you. That was a lot of information there.
Gotta avoid the 3-0.
All right, whenever you're ready.
All right, let's do this. I chose The Hurt Locker, released in 2008. The Hurt Locker also was stacked up against a pretty tough list. Beat out Avatar, The Blind Side, which everybody creamed over, District 9, which was amazing, Inglourious Bastards, Up, which also everybody creamed over, Up in the Air, among others. Great acting by Jeremy Renner and Anthony Mackie. Even Brian Garrity, is that how you say his last name? I'm not sure. He does a really good job as kind of the pussier, wimpier guy in the unit, and kind of like the most conflicted because he is kind of like a marshmallow, but at the same time he has to do these really tough things. And you go to this thinking, okay, it's a war movie, I'm going to see explosions, some gunfire and shit, and it's not really your typical everyday war movie. What you get from this is raw intensity and really strong emotion, but also action scenes, I guess I'd say. I'd classify it more as a drama thriller than a action sequence movie. That's because what the actors bring to the screen, you can totally see that too. You don't have to be a movie aficionado to notice that this is not your everyday war movie. It's got, so it won Best Picture, won 5 other Oscars, Best Achievement in Directing, Original Screenplay, Best Achievement in Film Editing, nominated for another 3, so it was also up for 9 Oscars, but it actually won 6 out of the 9. I think that,
He's joking.
I think that, the action really never stops, has you on the edge of your seat the whole time, but it's never over the top, not once. Yeah, dude, I really don't have much to say.
Okay.
I hate to do it, but I'm going in for the kill, man.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Yep. Won 6 out of 9 Oscars. Well, let's see. I don't think The Blind Side is held up at all well. Avatar gets crapped on nowadays. District 9, nobody even knows what the hell that is. Up had no shot in hell because it's animated. Up in the Air is still, again, a hidden gem. I enjoy it, but nobody goes back to A Serious Man is a Coen Brothers film, and nobody even knows that. Because this year, or the year that you had, it's pitiful. I mean, Inglourious Basterds, we're always hoping that Tarantino will finally win one, a director, or win again for Best Picture, but it's just not going to happen because what we have is a bad case of the Oscar bait. And to me, this is the definition of Oscar bait. The content in this movie is fit for, struggles that we deal with right now in a military way. And on top of this, and I'm not taking anything away from Catherine Bigelow, but female director. And in the 81 years they had it, they had never, ever given it to a woman. So right there's your chance. And on top of that, the headlines are going for female director Catherine Bigelow versus her ex, James Cameron. So look, the movie's disjointed. It's very hard to like Jeremy Renner. He seems very far-fetched. He's in a near-death experience, then he flips out with some random DVD bootleg kid goes missing. He puts his own men in peril, then decides to go back into it, alienating his wife and kid. It makes no sense. It's so disjointed, but yet people still cream over it because it has Best Picture attached to it. Dude, The Hurt Locker, 7.6 IMDb. Here's where Rotten Tomatoes gets you, and it just really annoys me. 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, but 84% audience score? Give me a break. It's only a 3-minute difference between the two films. 12 Years a Slave all the way.
I wish this thing would let me, turn on volume, but... Alright, Joey, save yourself.
I think that being that it's a very touchy subject and with it comes a lot of emotional strife and all that, I think that it was somewhat of a shoo-in, despite the difficult pictures it was up against. I mean, really, Gravity and Nebraska, I think, were the only real contenders, aside from maybe Wolf of Wall Street and Captain Phillips, but...
Damn.
4 out of the 10.
Nah, but I think that the supporting roles did a lot better of a job evoking the depth and the complexity of their characters. Not only are they in a wartime setting, but they also have to deal with all this other personal shit that you can see is getting brought on the screen, specifically from Mackie. Forget his first name, but
Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony Mackie. And Jeremy Renner also does a really great job with this because he loves his wife and kids, yes, but he's basically an adrenaline junkie who needs his fix, I guess, and the war is the best thing that he can do to fill that. but at the same time, he does remember his family, and he, at times, really does just want to go back and stay back and be back. And I think that when he goes crazy about the kid missing is kind of that. He kind of was attached to the kid because he also has a wife and child back home. And he's kind of like this macho guy, whatever. He wants to get shit done and go do it right now. Maybe putting his men's life in jeopardy, but he's just very proactive. But at the same time, he's just a man.
All right, that ends our third battle. Can't think of another word.
Round.
Yeah.
Here's a good one.
All right. It's pretty easy to do one. Scott Niemi
Yes!
has conquered the ever elusive 3-0.
That's right, Seawells. Yes! I wish we had like music or something. Right
All right. It was close. It was a really good round. Scott came on strong in that rebuttal, though, so it was an uphill fight. And that concludes our round, our battle for today. Scott Niemi will go up against the winner of Royce Brackett and Blake Zornow. Can't remember how to say it, even though I've worked with him for 3 years. Fuck me.
Into the semis, baby.
Yep,
Woo!
semifinals. All right, and then the other battles we have this week are myself, Damon Big Deezy Gumbert versus Sierra
Hoodsey Hill, and
Let's see.
we have Kalen Dragon of the West Corbeil versus Trace Couch Patchin.
Which will be a great one.
That'll be happening tomorrow. So
Amores going up against each other.
look for Look for those two to be coming out a few days after these ones. We don't like to book them all up right away, but
All right, shake hands. No hard feelings.
couldn't see it. No, they're
It happened though. They shook hands. It's fine. They still love each other.
Spit
All right.
on his hand.
Like, share, subscribe.
subscribe, please. We're up to 60, baby.
Woo! Twitter, SoundCloud, all that jazz. Although we haven't really done anything with SoundCloud in a while, but fuck it.
Check it anyways.
Yeah. All right. And
Later.
I don't know if you have a quote you want to do again.
Uh,
Throw one out.
I'm just number one.
You just number one.